Hi everybody. I hope everybody's okay. Just a little catch up from me really about over the last few days. Firstly, massive, massive, massive thank you to my niece's partner who got all my computer, sorted my computer out, retrieved all my data that was completely gone at the beginning of the week. Um, it's taught me a lesson really not to be so complacent about just saving things here, there, and everywhere. I am going to start try because that was my work mind for a long time. Some things I put to an external hard drive, most of it I hadn't, and I would have lost it. So thank God for Reese who sorted it out for me. So I will be spending the next couple of days going through my laptop and just sorting it out and making sure that I've got everything saved externally so that because really only when it happens you think, do you know what I mean? Like you think, how can that happen? And you just get so complacent it doesn't even cross your mind until it happens, and then you think, shit, I should have actually done something about that, and it makes you wonder. So, and the things I do, I had a bit of a mini heart attack. So I was like, oh, no, 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 no. But luckily, he did explain briefly what it was. But anyway, it's back. I can sort it out. So, firstly, thank you so much for that. Um, I just quickly want to just make a note on the Epstein files, guys, because obviously Andrew has just been arrested, right? And they're saying, and it drives me nuts when they do this, because don't forget, right? People are only starting to realize it now, but these files have been known about for a long time, mind, right? They've been known about for a long, long time. Um, and it's always misfeasance or misconduct in public office, and they always make it sound so trivial. Do you know what I mean? Like serious, but not as serious as it actually is. Because I couldn't give a crap about information that's gone back and forth between Andrew and Epstein. I'm more interested in seeing these people behind bars for what they've done to children, and all they do is they deflect from it. So they'll make out that Andrew gave some information that he shouldn't have given to Epstein and whatever, and people will be so focused on that they'll forget about the kids. They do it all the time. Do not take your eyes off the ball, right? Because it's so serious and so massive, because it's like worldwide what's going on worldwide, and most people still don't give a shit. It just absolutely baffles me. It really does. Having this conversation with Darren in the car, and he's like, yeah, they still don't know though. They'll just be happy with whatever the radio says, so they'll see it as misconduct in public office, and they won't even bother scratching the surface and having a real look at it and whatever. But to me, it's just like honestly, it is like people don't. It's like they're so desensitized and so programmed now that they just, this stuff comes up and they couldn't give a toss. They really couldn't give a toss. It's always on me and mine, as long as me and my family's okay. And I just really, as far as I'm concerned, it's really selfish. But that aside, right? That aside, all of this stuff you're seeing now happens on a lower level as well, right? So we're looking at it from a high level with all these people in very strong positions of power, politicians, celebrities, all the elites they call them and whatever, right? All the upper class people. What about the people on the ground as well? Because this is going on absolutely everywhere at every level. The trafficking system is on the ground as well, mind. It happens through the services, through local services and stuff, right? This is happening absolutely everywhere. So again, it's like a double-edged sword. You people are focused on the Epstein files, the ones that care anyway. And then their eyes are taken away from the ball, which is their front garden, basically. Do you know what I mean? This is happening down here every day in mine and your life. It's not just happening on this big ring that's going on worldwide, which is disgusting and bad enough in itself, but it's happening locally as well. It's happening in your schools, it's happening to your kids, it's happening to your nieces, nephews, grandchildren, your friends' children. Is happening absolutely everywhere, right? And we're at a stage now where just so too many people are just not giving a crap about it. And it's really frustrating. It's really frustrating for people who do care and they want to help and save children, right? Because us taking our eye off the ball or not giving a shit about anything else but other than your own little circle. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got the new agers who are like, oh, we'll ignore all negativity and create our own little reality over here in our own little bubble. That's brilliant. That is the easiest way the enemy can get through to you, by the way. The first lie in the Bible that the devil gives to Eve, you can know everything and blah blah blah, you can be your own god and whatever, you can be. And that's what the new agers think, right? So they're so focused on themselves and manifesting and you also descending and all that crap that they don't even they don't want to focus on that, because attention goes where energy flows and all that sort of nonsense. So they step away from it for that. That's just the way it is. And then there's obviously, you have got, there's many Christians who are, with the prosperity gospel and whatever else. And it's just like, all the good, the good, the good. And don't get me wrong, the gospel is absolutely amazing. It's up here above everything else, right? But the point is this, it also says in Ephesians 5 is to not partake in evil deeds, but expose them. So unless we know about it, how can we expose them, right? And again, I think it's the enemy there who stops even Christians looking at the evil side of it to not do anything. If it's bad enough for you to know about it, imagine how bad it is for those kids to endure it. Just think about that for a minute. And is it not really, really selfish that people can't think about that? They're like, oh no, I can't, it's too much for me to. And I'm not saying it, don't get me wrong, it is, right? It's horrendous. I hated it all the time. But I have to, because if some of us don't go and dive into these things, how on earth are people going to even know what's going on? Never mind do anything about it, right? Our job is to protect children as well, right? That is the case. That is absolutely the case, right? And everybody takes their eyes off the ball. Not everybody. A lot of people take their eye off the ball and they just become so complacent. They don't care anymore. They don't care anymore. It doesn't affect me. I can't get my head around that sort of way of thinking. Look, are we that selfish that, some children being abused everywhere, everywhere, literally under your noses as well, and it doesn't affect you or doesn't resonate with you, so you don't even want to think about it? Meanwhile, those of us with a soul actually think really strongly about it. Do you know what I mean? And imagine what goes on with these children. Imagine how frightened they are. Imagine how traumatized they are to have this stuff happen to them and know that nobody's coming for them because we've all told to stay away from the negative or whatever, right? And we're all distracted by other bullshit going on. And it's happening right in your noses. It's happening in your classrooms. It's happening in your school's classroom on the daily, mind. And people still don't get it. They still don't get it until something happens. And then it's like, oh, all hell breaks loose and they want help with everything, this, that, and the other, right? Been warned and warned and warned constantly. We're not making it up. Like, it's not just because, we like the sound of our own voices. I'm sick to the teeth of the sound of my voice. Honestly, I really am. I feel like a broken record, but it's something that's got to keep coming up constantly. It really has. If you understood, like really sat down and had to think about what was going on and actually read some of the stuff that is going on in school and paid attention to it, you would be absolutely mortified. And I mean mortified. You've got teachers that have left because they can't deal with it anymore, right? They're the good ones, unfortunately, right? You've got teachers still in there who want to get out of it so badly, but they got a mortgage and everything to pay, right? So what do? Trying to do the minimum in some schools, they know they have to do it because it's mandatory, right? It is mandatory. You can opt out. You can't opt out of it, but there are exemptions in case law that we produced, right? But it's not easy. It's not easy to get a 6-year-old boy, or 5 he was at the time, a 5-year-old mentally disabled boy out of those lessons took us a year in an education tribunal. It's not easy. It's not something you can just stroll up and go, there's a lot of people who say, oh yeah, my teacher said they're not doing that. Bullshit. Either the teacher's lying to you or they don't know yet. They will be doing it. They have to do it. It's the framework from the WHO and UNESCO. They've got no choice, right? If they don't teach it, they're breaking the law. So you've got some teachers in some schools who they've got their framework in front of them and they're trying to just scrape by with a minimum because they feel so uncomfortable with it. And I would too. Imagine having to teach children about self-stimulation. In other words, masturbation. They just prettied the name up. It actually still does say early childhood masturbation in the World Health Organization and UNESCO, mind. Early childhood masturbation. It's fine. Don't worry, it's just like picking your nose. They're grooming kids in the classroom from age 3. Now, they said they were bringing this sex education in because they're trying to, it was years ago where they were trying to stop teen pregnancy and whatever, and it's just escalated from there. They use that as an excuse. And if that's the real reason why, then why did they make it mandatory for 3-year-olds before 14 and 15-year-olds? 3-year-old's not a teenager, are they? So if it was really about teenagers, trying to stop them becoming pregnant and, giving them a bit of education on it, on the harms of it, which it is absolutely not, it's a complete sex positive education. And I know that as a fact because I'm actually trained in RSE teacher. I'm a RSE teacher trainer. I'm fully accredited to teach it. I know exactly what's going on in those secondary schools. And it's nothing to do with being safe. It's all sex positive. They're doing it anyway. So let's just show them how to do it properly. Let's just teach them how to choke their partner safely during sex. This is the kind of shit that is going on in those classrooms. And it's still just straight over people's heads, straight over people's heads. And they wonder why kids are acting out the way they are. You know how heartbreaking it is when I get a mother come to me absolutely out of her mind, doesn't even know what to do, right? Beside herself because she's walked in on her two children in a sex act. What do you do in that situation? Other than freak out. Police don't know what to do. Social services don't know what to do. And they're all scratching their heads like, why is this going on? And it's just like, when you put something in front of a child's face, right, they are going to copy it, right? There's no argument there. People say it all the time, oh yeah, little Susie, she got a brain like a sponge, she's sucking all this up. So yeah, we'll just put a load of porn in front of her and see what happens. And then when something does happen, go crazy about it. Too late. Too late. If people understood the damage, the absolute damage of early exposure to this sort of material, they'd be absolutely horrified. They would be horrified and they'd get up their asses, off their knees, onto their feet, and they'd be doing something about it instead of sat behind a computer moaning about it occasionally. I'm sorry, but I have had a guts full of it. I really, really have. It's like trying to go through the motions and trying to keep a cool head when you just see people just don't give a shit. They really don't give a shit. It's horrible to see. Yet the rugby match is on and everyone's going out of their minds, throwing their phones and stuff, or a football match or whatever, fighting, and all of this passion comes out. It comes out, just all this passion everywhere. And yet when it's about the kids and about safeguarding, it's just fucking tumbleweed. Excuse my language. Right, but it really does get on my nerves, right? We used to do demos outside. You know what? We'd have about 30 people there, and those 30 people are quality. They're the best support we could ever possibly want. But 30 people, we should have thousands and thousands of people there. 30 people. It's a joke. But when something else is going on, get them all out, millions. When it's to do with the adults, when they want to sort something out, with a digital ID, this, that, and the other. I'm not saying that's not a problem, but my point is they'll march by the millions, mind. When it comes to safeguarding your kids, we get 30 people there. Absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. And I'm sorry if I'm coming across a bit harsh or whatever. I don't care at this point. I really don't. Right? Some people, thankfully, worldwide, I met them when I went to Washington, and they'll be coming over to our conference here in April. I hope you'll bother to turn up. Do you know what I mean? Maybe you'll learn a bit more about how the scale of this education and what it's actually for. Because people do ask that question, what's it for? Actually, somebody asked me in the sauna the other day, and I said, you know what? Because I'm so sick and tired of jumping through hoops and, walking on eggshells to get to the point, I told him straight to the point, they're paedophile policies, because paedophiles are in charge. I said, I'm sorry. I said, but there's no easy, I can go around the houses 10 times, but that is the bottom line. You want to know why? Because paedophiles are in charge, and their paedophile policies are right in that classroom, running through those classrooms from age 3 to 16. Grooming the kids. Why do they want to groom the kids? To make it normal to them, to desensitize to them, so that when they want to have sex with them and when they want to do stuff to them, that's why they're teaching them consent as well. Don't teach a child consent in sexual matters. You don't teach a child consent in those matters. You teach them in consent when they're older, as in teenagers. You don't teach them consent as children. No. Because that is a groomer's paradise. People think, right, they think that abuse is like always violent and always, obvious or whatever. And it's not. It's really not. 90% of children who are abused know they're abuser. You do get your opportunistic attacks with just psychos out in the street who are going to, pinch someone off the side of the street and rape them and whatever. You do get them, but they're very small in comparison. So when you're teaching children consent, you see how that becomes a massive problem. And they'd be desensitizing you on purpose. The things that have come out, the stories, I don't even think they're real half the time, but they're just to test the waters, to test how people's going to react. They'll have like a 14-year-old and like a 27-year-old, or, and they'll sort of normalize it and say, oh, they're in love or whatever, or even a 16 and a 40-year-old, blah, blah, because then you're like, well, she's age of consent or whatever, and it normalizes that. And a lot of these kids are so groomed that they actually believe they're in love with these older men. You know, they could be 12, 13. And because they've been groomed, love bombed, groomed and whatever, and think, you know, as it, we know what it's like to be teenagers, you know, we think you know it all and you think, no, you know, and that 12-year-old girl comes around and says, well, I love him. I consented to it. Do you see where this is going? And they've drip, 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 drip. They've done it for such a long time that now we're at a stage where people genuinely don't give a shit, which was their goal, which was their intention. So on the 24th of February, which is next Tuesday, we've got a demo, our first outside demo in a while, because we've been doing indoor events a lot of the time. So, you know, we haven't had a chance to go outside because we're busy, like we're really busy behind the scenes and whatever. We do a lot of work, right? We do a lot of work. So anyway, so first one, we're going from Cardiff Castle at midday on Tuesday, the 24th, going to the Senedd, and then we'll do our demonstration outside the Senedd. Please try and make it as if you were going to go to a rugby match or whatever, right? Jump through hoops if you have to. Try and make it so we get, you know, a bit more than 30 maybe, so we can see some progress going on there, you know. These are for your kids, for all of our kids, right? You know, my kid never went to school. She's doing her GCSEs in a couple of months. She didn't go to school. I have, you know, most people are like, why are you even doing this? Because I care about everybody's kids. She wasn't exposed to any of this shit, thankfully. I know it's probably not the best way to ask because I've just ranted for 10 minutes or whatever. So I do apologize, right? I am a bit calmer now. Please try and be there, right? We need the numbers. We need to show these people that we're not standing for it anymore. Because while nobody cares, they just get away with it. They carry on and on and on, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And so when you're creating a society like this, sexual offending goes through the roof. The age of the offender comes down, and therefore so does the victim. And there's more victims, more of them, because we're creating this behavior through not giving a shit about what's going on when we really need to be paying attention. So please, right? It's a few hours of your day. That's it, right? Surely your kids are worth it. Secondly, we do a lot of work around the country, right? And a lot of the time we have, because we've got so much stuff and our merchandise and our flyers and our equipment, you know, for our PR system and everything else, right? We sometimes we have to rent vans and stuff, right? It's a lot of money and none of us are paid for this, mind. We rely on our supporters, and I just want to say a massive thank you to all of our supporters, because you're amazing. Without you, we really couldn't be doing this. Like I say, none of us get paid for it, none of us, right? In fact, we've paid out of our pockets, you know, to do what we're doing. And we need a van. We need a van so that we're not having to pay out hundreds of pounds every time we need to rent a van to go to. We can do more things. We can go more places, you know, if we had our own van. So I will put a post out about this as well. But if anyone's willing to donate for us to get us a van, we don't need no big, massive, expensive thing. We just need something that will, you know, take us all there with our stuff from A to B. That's enough. Do you know what I mean? So I think there might be a GoFundMe or a fundraiser or something like that we've got going on. So I will do a separate post on this as well. But if anyone wants to, you know, ask for those details, just comment in the comment section. And once the fundraiser is up for it, I'll post the link in there, or whatever the bank details are to help us pay for this van. Like I say, guys, this is for all of us. This is for all of our kids. This is for the most vulnerable in society. And if we've got that, then we're able to do more. You know, we're able to do more. We're able to go more places. We're able to do more demonstrations. Yes, I'm in Wales, but this is global. This is worldwide, right? This is worldwide. And if you can keep the 18th of April free as well, we've got a conference, an all-day conference where we've got the internationals coming over, the ones I met last year. So we've got New Zealand, Australia, I don't know if Canada, and maybe Canada, the USA and Ireland coming over. So they're going to be keynote speakers as well during that conference, so they can tell you what's going on all the way around the world. Like I say, it's you know, this is not just here in Wales. This is everywhere. You know, this is massive. This education is massive, and it's done on purpose. It's intentional, and the reasons for it are just horrific. They're beyond horrific, and you know, nobody wants to believe it, but it is going on. And unless we step in and do something about it, it is going to continue to go on, and it's going to continue to damage our kids. So keep those dates in mind, the 24th of February, midday outside the castle. Or if you're unable to, you know, do the march, if you're disabled, or, you know, then just go to the Senedd, just go to the Senedd, because that's where we'll end up anyway, and that's where the demonstration will actually be. The 18th of April for the conference, that's going to be an all day, and we got a buffet, and we do an amazing buffet. Public Child Protection Wales's buffets are awesome, honestly. And yeah, if you can give us a hand, anyone, just anything will do, you know, a pound, anything to help us towards getting that vehicle so that we can go more places and we can do more for the children. That would be incredible. Anyway, I do apologize for the rant, and I do apologize for my language, but it, you know, sometimes it gets a bit much, you know, and you just want to shake people, you know, and just come on, just if we were all in this together, I wouldn't have to come on ranting, basically. And like I say, I'm sick of the my own voice, so you're probably sick of it as well. Anyway, I'll leave it there, guys. Take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your evening.